One of the guys that I talked to, he was like, sis, like, if we just vibe, like, if the conversation is so good, like, I'm just enjoying her company, definitely, I want to date her, I want to marry her. Hey people, it's Abisola,
What's going on, people? Seyi here, Oko Abisola.
aka that just means Seyi is my husband.
Yep, and we're your co-hosts on Life and Some Jara.
But before you think this is another relationship podcast, we've got so much more in store for you on money, side gigs, and living your best life. You shall get the gist.
Exactly, and all this content comes from you, our listeners, through surveys that you complete.
And trust us to add our own Jara,
Yep.
a little extra here and there.
Of course, so stay tuned.
What's up, people? It's Abisola,
Hey guys, it's Seyi here.
and this is episode 1 of Life and Some Jara.
What?
Hey!
Yeah, so for this episode, we ask the fine brothers and ladies, what are you looking for?
Seriously, guys, what are you looking for? So I'll tell you guys a story. Friend of mine went on a date. She had told me about this guy, fine brother, Christian, yada, yada, yada. And in my head, I was already low-key planning the wedding for them, right? So, except on the dates, guy is like, so anything for the boys,
So like what, did you want her to pay for dinner or what?
pay for dinner. Of course, he wanted to go home with her. And I was like, that's
Oh,
ridiculous.
to have tea, coffee?
No, not only tea and coffee. So let me finish the story, right? So she calls me after the date, obviously disappointed. She's like, I don't understand. Where are the fine, good men? Like, this is not the kind of man I want to get married to. And I just feel like, honestly, the good men, they're all married. And I'm just left here with some remnants that, I'm not going to get married to someone like this.
So the guy just wanted to score on day one, pretty much.
Pretty much, but he may have wanted a long-term relationship, but that was an important factor for him. And that's not the kind of guy she was looking for, right?
Okay.
So, yeah, and she really left me thinking, right? Where are the good men? Like, for a friend like this, where do I tell her to go to find, like, Mr. Right? Is to find someone she wants to date and...
So you know the funny thing, when you told me that story, immediately brought to mind, like, not just ladies face that thing, guys also face the same challenge. Of course, it's from a different perspective, right? So the guy met Miss Fine Girl, right, on day one, and straight away the lady was like, so what's your 5-year plan? What are you trying to accomplish with your life? And the dude was like, whoa, chill. I'm just trying to talk to you. Like, I haven't even decided I like you. Just chill, okay?
What can you say? We women are serious.
Yeah, but interrogating me, even an interviewer would not ask me that question.
I hear you.
But anyway, so that was kind of how we decided to start this, record this episode, right? So we talked to a lot of guys, ladies, interviewed them, asked them a lot of questions, just to truly understand what are they interested in, right?
Yeah, so all of the things we'll be saying today are the feedback that we received from all the men we talked to, as well as women we talked to understand what each party, thinks about this whole
relationship
dating
saga.
game, because it's just a hot mess, honestly.
Yeah.
So
to give you guys some context, right? The types of people we talk to for the guys, really for both the guys and ladies, between the ages of 25 to 40, of all different relationship statuses, whether single, dating,
his status
engaged.
sorry.
Well, hey,
His status is a
yeah. Anyways, whatever. So we talk to people all over the relationship spectrum, right? Just to really understand, just to get a diverse perspective.
Yeah, we ask them all sorts of questions, right? We ask them what triggers your interest. What are the deal breakers when you go talk to a lady for the first time, or when you meet a man for the first time? We ask them in general, where do you go to? Where do you meet people? Where do you expect to meet someone? We just asked questions to understand this topic.
Yeah, and another very good one we asked was, okay, so how do you guys actually make the first move? How do you, slide into that DM, initiate that conversation while the lady, or even from the lady's perspective, how do you flash that beautiful smile, that will make the guy anyways, you guys you're in for a lot. So.
Yeah, for episode 1, we'll start by talking about the triggers, right? So what triggers a man to talk to a lady? What triggers a lady's interest in a man? And then after that, we'll talk about the deal breakers for both men and women.
So honestly, Abisola, I could have given you the answer. We didn't even need to do all the interviews.
Okay.
Okay, so the first thing guys are looking for, right? They want that perfect figure eight lady, like seriously beautiful.
Okay, you guys should see me rolling my eyes at Seyi right now.
Okay,
That's ridiculous.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Okay, let's get serious. Then
Okay.
the second thing, according to the theory of Seyi, is that a lady that has like that bank account, it must be super full, maybe at least $1 million.
Okay, let me give you guys a heads up. If you don't know Seyi, he plays way too much, so don't even listen
You're
to
telling
him.
me you don't want a person. Oh, okay, fine, whatever. Okay, let's get serious.
Let's be serious. So I'll shoot, right? There were really 4 major themes across the men and the women that we talked to that they said were important for them, like important triggers for them to be interested in someone at the first meet. And it's basic things that we all should know. And I think we know, but it's a good reminder, right?
So what are those things, right?
Okay, well, the first one was the appearance.
Oh, didn't I tell you that like the guys want that perfect
Well,
figure eight?
maybe not how you phrased it. Less
just
of the
kidding.
figure
Okay.
eights and more of how they have to be comfortable with how a person looks, right? They have to be able
Right.
to point to the lady and be like, yeah, that's my babe. You know, like she carries herself well and she dresses, she looks presentable is what I would say.
So essentially what you're trying to say is when a guy sees a lady, what makes him interested in her is how she looks.
Well, I wouldn't say what makes him interested in her. I would say what makes him wants to go talk to her, right? Like that's what triggers his initial interest. Like
Okay.
that's what it's like. He's like, yo, like this babe looks fine, man. Let me go talk to her.
Okay, so did guys say there's a specific type of lady they're looking for, or what did they say?
Well, not exactly. Again, it's just about him being comfortable with how she looks, right? So it's all subjective and it's everyone has their different tastes, right? So, you know, I don't know. One guy may like, I don't know, but it's all subjective. Everyone likes different things.
Okay,
you
okay.
know?
And what about those ladies that they prefer their natural look, or they just want to be
I
themselves?
prefer my natural look too. It's like you can be natural and put yourself together before you leave the house. Natural look don't mean look a mess. Natural look is just like, you look natural, but you present yourself. You wear a nice, clean,
Okay.
dress, or your hair is done. Or
So it's
you
not
don't
all
have to
about
be.
the makeup. It's not
Of
about.
course not. I didn't get the sense that men were referring to the makeup. And I know the significant others of some of the men that I talked to, they're not necessarily makeup-y kind of people. It's just about. So what I'm saying is just look in the mirror before you leave the house. You know if you look a mess.
Gotcha.
So, okay, so Seyi, tell us what did the woman describe about appearance and how it affects their.
So it was pretty much the same thing, right? Ladies wanted a guy that looks good, dresses well, is well put together, essentially is very presentable, right? They don't want anybody to approach them that is looking raggedy, the hair is not really combed, it's the shoes are dusty, something like that.
So you're saying that guys have to be on 100, like step out in that suit, that sharp fitted suit.
Yeah, that's a little too much. You can't wear a suit everywhere, right? But I think it's more of just look well. Like
Yeah.
don't just look off when you come talk to me as a lady.
Yeah.
That's kind of what they were saying.
I think it's the same gist. I really do think it's the same gist.
Yeah.
Put yourself together. I think it's a double standard if you want to meet a guy who looks good, but then you're not putting in effort to look good.
And then as a guy, it's a double standard if you want that lady that looks amazing, and then you just want to wear anything, or you just want to walk anyhow, right?
So what would you say about people who, some people just don't care how they, not like they don't care how they look, but they're just not how do I describe
So,
this?
there's, guys like me pretty much that we can just wear anything and feel like we're
Now
comfortable.
that
Is
you
that
put
what
it
you're
in
saying?
context, yeah, you're kind of like that. It's like,
I'm like that now, but when I was when I was coming after you, that's not how I was dressing, Like I kind of put my best foot forward at that time, right?
and then you changed after marriage.
Let's just say I became my real self, but okay.
No, but
I'm just kidding. But one thing that really helps both guys and ladies regardless is just smile. Like a really really beautiful smile can make you look amazing to the next person.
I don't know if a smile is enough, but
I think it was actually the smile that covered how I was dressing when I was talking to you.
I mean, you didn't look that bad, honestly. I actually thought you looked good. Like
Oh,
we said, it's all
okay.
subjective. It's all subjective, right?
Nice, nice. Okay, so what was the second thing that both parties said?
Good conversation, the vibe, the chemistry, how you're flowing, all of that
Okay.
talk. That's
Vibe.
what they
Okay,
like.
okay, vibe. Like how I come up to meet you and the conversation should just go well.
Yeah, like one of the guys that I talked to, he was like, sis, like if we just vibe, like if the conversation is so good, like I'm just enjoying her company, definitely I want to date her, I want to marry her. And I think it makes sense.
Yeah, I guess the idea behind that is when you meet that person, when you're just having that initial conversation, it gives you a kind of sense of, okay, who's this person? Do I enjoy the person's company? Is this a person I want to call tomorrow, the next week? Because I know I'm going to enjoy this person's company, right?
Yeah, and I think the key is it's not like you thinking, oh, I got to vibe with this person. I just think being yourself and being interesting, right? Like just not let yourself go, but just enjoy a good conversation, regardless of whether or not, that's going to move on to a relationship. Just enjoy the moments, enjoy the conversation, talk about the food, talk about your interests, talk about,
The weather.
no,
Yeah,
I mean,
guys, please don't talk about the weather. Otherwise, you may just be going
yeah.
empty-handed.
And I think guys, one of the things they mentioned is, all that old school forming that we were taught way back when. Like ladies just, a guy comes to talk to you, like he's kind of cute, but you're just like, I don't want to talk to you. You flip your hair and turn around. Maybe not literally, but
Man, the guys detest
they
that. Like
apparently, yeah.
it turns them off. Because think about it, right? I'm a guy. I one way or the other, I worked up the confidence to come over to this very beautiful lady I see over there, and I'm like, "Hey, how are you?" And then she just turns, "Oh yeah, I'm good." Like she gives me one attitude and one voice tone like this. I'm like, "No way am I talking to you. I'm not going to spend my time." I mean, well, we'll try again, but at some point we'll
Yeah.
just give up.
Yeah. So Shay, vibe with me, right? I just want us to let's just have a good conversation. So you meet me at a wedding.
Okay.
Maybe I don't know. We're hanging out in the in the what did
In
you
the
call it?
reception.
Maybe like the cocktail hour, right? We're just hanging out. You see me over at the other corner, and you're like,
Okay,
"Oh,
okay.
that girl's fine.
I
Let me
can
go
get
talk to
this.
her." So
Okay, I'm
shit.
like, "Hey, how are you?"
I'm good.
I'm sorry, I can't even think of anything. Okay, let's do this again. I'm like, oh hi, how are you? How do you know the couple?
So I would say Jola and I actually we went to pharmacy school together.
Oh, pharmacy school. Was that at Johns Hopkins University?
Yes, that was at Hopkins. Did you go there as well?
No. But I actually lived very close to there. That's why. Do you know where Orleans and New Mexico Street is?
I lived and breathed there. That was
Oh,
my
you also
that,
lived there. How
that
did I
was
ever
well,
see you?
that was my zone. Like
Wow. Okay.
yeah.
Wait, you must know that Japanese restaurant Mesho Tokyo.
That's my favorite. I love their sushi.
Okay, I cannot believe this. I was almost always there.
I
Also,
can't believe this, yo. Okay, so you were always there, eh? That means you don't like to cook?
I mean, I like to cook. Why you asking?
I'm just curious, that's all.
Okay. Well, yeah, that's kind of scary, man. Okay, anywho's, you guys get the gist, right? Just whatever, just vibe.
Just vibe, not the way we just vibe.
Yeah, don't do it the way we did. Okay, anyways, from a lady's perspective, they also wanted the same thing. They wanted great conversation, right? But then for them, good conversation meant something slightly different. Yeah, there's the vibing part. But then they also wanted the guy to be sort of sensible and thoughtful, right?
Yeah.
Don't just say random things. First of all, guys, get rid of all those pickup lines like an angel just fell from heaven. You must be the one.
Do
Like,
they still do that?
nah, I hope not. But a lot of them actually, you know what? A couple of ladies said that guys used pickup lines, and they were like, "Dude, are you kidding? What day and age is
And
this?"
it goes back to the be yourself thing we were saying, right?
Yeah. So they were like, "Engage me as an intellectual." The others were like, be respectful. Don't just say foolish things. Like one guy in the first few conversations was already starting to talk about gender roles. Like, ladies have to do this and guys have to do this. And she's like, wait, hold up. You don't even know who I am or what
I'm
I
actually
believe.
glad for her that he said that on the first date, so she didn't have to waste her time on a guy like that. Sorry, I'm biased, obviously.
I guess. Yeah. And other things they were just thinking around good conversation is just also listen, right, guys? Like, I mean, I know many times we're trying to impress the lady, but there was this book I read, How to Win Friends and Influence People. People, if you haven't read that book, go read it. But one thing they were saying there in that book, and really it's the same thing the ladies echoed: listen twice for every one time you speak. Just
Wow.
because if you get me to talk about myself, I'm actually gonna like you more. And it sounds counterintuitive, but it's true, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
So
true. So yeah, just truly listen, enjoy the conversation, be yourself. Don't say like guys, don't say dumb things. That's not right. Like don't and I think it happens when you just take for granted that first meet. And I think on both sides, people just kind of wanted it to be treated seriously. Like you're going to approach a woman that you're planning to spend
well, you're planning to date.
you're
You don't
planning
know
to
where it will
date,
go.
and you're gonna spend a lot of time with someone if you're dating the person. That's
I
investing your
think
time.
part
with
of the
person.
reason sometimes guys say silly things might be they're not as confident at that point, or they're
Yeah.
nervous, right? And interestingly, that's the third thing that lady said, right?
Mm-hmm.
They want a guy that is confident when he meets them. One lady particularly put it this way: I want somebody that is confident but not cocky. Like I want somebody that in his mind he feels he's good enough to just walk up to me and talk to me, have a conversation, but he doesn't feel like, oh, he's is like, I don't know, the bomb.com and is hot sauce, and the lady should be bending down or falling and groveling at his feet. Like
I mean, I agree, and from my experience with guys approaching me as well, I would
When?
say, well, way back when.
okay, let's just clarify that, okay?
Way back when, how many years ago? I mean, you have to be confident in who you are. And I think you gave me that, right? Like, I remember how okay, I'm going back to the vibing thing again, like our first
Okay.
meet.
That was
And
okay.
we were at Sheyi's sister's house, and he was talking about.
Oh, that
so
wasn't
we
the first meet. I bet you somewhere else. Well, anyway,
well, for
continue.
me, that was the first meet because that was like our first real conversation where we exchanged contacts and all of that. And Sheyi he was like, oh, he stepped away from the house when we were watching a movie, and he came back and was like, oh, what did I miss in the movie? And then we talked a little bit about
By the way,
movie.
you know I had watched that movie multiple times, right?
Well, yeah, and I had zero interest in the movie, but I had to talk about it with you. But it turned out to be great conversation, and I enjoyed your confidence. I think that came across.
Yeah. Okay. Well, you know me, Mr. Confident. Okay.
Oh, don't worry.
All right. So, what was the last thing that guys and ladies said that at that initial meet sparks their interest?
So guys wanted that independent woman, like be your own woman, be your own self.
Yeah.
That they found attractive. I think in general, it's like what they were saying was like, while you're waiting, while you're single, girls, just live your life. Like
Yeah.
enjoy your life. Let them see you enjoying your life, not see you in misery.
Yeah, guys actually find that lady that is busy doing her own thing, enjoying her life more attractive.
Yeah, the real question is what gets you excited? What makes you pumped up? Like, and it can be anything. It doesn't even have to be that serious. It doesn't have to be like your career. It can be anything. It can be traveling. It can be eating out. I don't know if that's good for your pocket, but it's just
Regardless.
having that interest and just having something else that gets you excited, that makes you interesting, that makes you different.
Yeah, no, I kind of feel it, right? Because think about back in the days, right? Or even right now, assuming I'm scrolling through a person's Instagram feed, I want to kind of get a sense of who this person is. And if all I see are pictures of you in your house wearing some like PJs watching a movie, I mean, that's
who are you
fine.
following on Instagram? Because girls don't even play. They
I
would
guess my
literally
Instagram-
they would let me tell you, they would literally put on clothes, put on makeup, and go take pictures for Instagram, not going anywhere.
You know, we need to do an
this is
episode of
2019.
we need to do an episode of behind like Instagram, like what happens on Instagram.
But yeah, I think what you're trying to say is like just if you don't have that thing about you and you appear almost desperate, that turns guys off.
Yeah. Okay, and for ladies, right? Ladies wanted a guy that has personal ambition and drive, right? I mean, this, in a way, as we said, for guys, it's like the one that lady that is be your own person. For ladies, it's like, I want you to be doing something. I want to know what you're doing, right? I don't just walk up to me and then in our first few conversations, I just learned that wait, you're just sitting down, you're not really in school, you're not really working, you're not really progressing in life. Like straight away, I'm not going to give you my number.
Is it just me, or did I get the sense that women were kind of like asking the question of what stage of life are you in?
It's less of what stage of life, but more like just what are you doing, right? I think we live in a world where, or maybe in America, where what you're doing is a huge part of who you are.
Yeah.
And
that's
so
true.
I want to know more about who you are. But then if you tell me you're not really doing anything, you're not working, or you're not trying to better your life, I don't want to really spend time on you, right?
That's valid.
And let's take, for example, assuming you just come to the United States, you don't yet have a real job. I want to at least see that you're working to get a job, or you're trying to get into school. And so a lot of ladies, one lady actually mentioned that a guy approached her, and in the first few conversations, she learned that he didn't really have a plan for anything, or it wasn't really doing anything with himself at that point in time.
Yeah.
And immediately she was turned off.
Yeah.
And I don't blame her.
I don't
'cause-
blame her either, because it's honestly, I think the key takeaway from these conversations, from this discussion we just had, is am I being the person that I want to be with? Like, if I'm saying I want someone who looks good, am I making effort to be presentable? If I'm saying I want someone who has something going on for themselves, am I doing the same thing as well? Because
Yeah.
we're seeing that both guys and women are, at the end of the day, it's put differently, but they're really looking for the same things.
So what are some other things that, either guys or ladies said that was just unique across each of them?
I think, okay, so one of the things guys said was like, she should be sweet and kind. And I thought that was just so sweet. Like, just be a nice person. Don't be annoying. Don't be like, someone has to enjoy being with you all the time, and just be a good person. That's what it comes down to.
That's right. Because I think for me, that was one thing that attracted me to you, right? Like, you're kind of a nice person and a sweet person. So,
I
props
try
to you.
sometimes.
Yeah, whatever.
Can I say one more thing that the men said? They said that they didn't want, a couple guys said they didn't want a woman who was like materialistic. I'm gonna just leave that there for y'all ladies.
Actually, this is a great segue into some of the factors that became more important as the guys and ladies started to know each other a little more.
Yeah, aka the deal breakers. Why, after meeting someone for the first time, would I decide, nah, no, brother, not doing this today, not moving forward with you?
So talking about the deal breakers, the first thing that both guys and ladies said was, while looks were important for the initial connection, right? They become significantly less important because if you're dating somebody that looks amazing but is a jerk, as we said, right? The looks cannot compensate.
Yeah, and I think this is well known. Like, everyone already knows. I mean, you may look fine on the outside, but once we start to see your true character,
If you're rotten inside.
literally, that's all we start to see on the outside. Is what you are on the inside just translates way more on the outside eventually. And sorry, your looks cannot buy you into a long-term relationship or marriage.
Yeah. All right. So for ladies, right, the ladies do not want a guy that is a jerk, right? Like, does he treat other people the way he treats them? I mean, maybe not exactly the way, because clearly the lady has to have some special treatment. But is he nice to the waiter that brings his food at the restaurant? Or is he nice to the cashier at the register when he's paying for his order? Like, is he a nice person in general, or is he just a jerk?
So true. So one guy, when I talked to him, said, I asked him, why did you end this relationship? What happened? And he said, well, I got turned off as I got to know her character more. And I was like, ouch, like, how nasty can you be? Just being a good person and having a character, being genuinely nice and concerned about others, not just yourself. It's what people want.
Yeah. And actually, it reminds me of a quote that I heard at a conference a while ago.
You're going to go conference on us right now?
No, but honestly, seriously, let me just say it, okay?
Okay.
It's deep. It's deep. It comes from the heart. Okay, so I was at this Google conference last week, and the one thing they said was for first impression, visual appeal beats utility. Like, okay, whatever. For first impression, how you look makes the most sense. For first impression, how you looks. You're letting me say nonsense. For first impression, how you look matters most, right? But then after the first impression, functionality is crucial.
I see what you're saying. I see where you went there.
That
but
shit going geeky on
you
you.
had to go conference on us right now.
That shit being a geek right now. Anyway, so yeah, ultimately, the first factor that was very important across both guys and ladies that if it's not there's a deal breaker was the character of the person.
Yeah. So the next thing that was high on both guys and ladies' lists was shared values or their faith. So, y'all, deep people, a lot of people.
I mean, I'll tell you, my guys made me proud, right? They took it away from the superficial looks level to what do you believe?
And I think it was even just beyond the what do you believe, but it's like at what level, right? So do you kind of believe or do you really believe? And I think people were looking for someone who was at the same level of faith as they were.
Right. Or even besides faith, right? That just has the same value system, right? That
Correct.
the things they hold important for living a good life are important to the other person.
Yeah. And one of the things for guys that came up, obviously, was sex, where I know it was bound to come up. It's like, some and guys were all over the spectrum. And I think this is where you talk to the person and figure out, is this person on the same page as me? If yes, I move forward, obviously. But some guys for their deal breakers were if she's not interested in sex, then I'm sorry, but it's a no for me. And some other guys and some other guys.
Now, majority of the guys though were actually saying that they do not want it before, marriage.
Yeah.
A lot more of the guys were like, okay, I mean, they're interested, but if the lady is not into it,
feeding
like,
off of her.
it's fine to not push her.
So the main thing is find someone who's at the same level as you and who has the same values as you and just we're not gonna preach to you about this. You do you.
Anyways, and I think from a lady's perspective, a couple of them were like, what are your thoughts around gender roles? Does the guy have a predefined notion that ladies must do this and guys must do this? Or does he have a sense of like, we're both equal in this relationship and we both, carry the weight, we're both responsible?
Honestly, so I think I lucked out because it's something that's very important to me, that. And somehow I forgot to ask you when we were dating and I just made assumptions.
But I don't think you asked that, what do you think about gender roles in a relationship? I think you observe the person's behavior. And that's how you determine
what I realize is that guys put their best foot forward when they're dating. Not pointing fingers at the person sitting across from me, but
whatever.
Yeah, it's a valid question, and I'm with all the women who said that.
Yeah. Okay.
So the next two factors were things that we talked about initially, but they continue to remain important as the relationship progresses. So the first one was just good conversation and friendship. Guys, you can't fake it, you can't fake it. If they don't enjoy you, they don't enjoy you. So you have to just keep being you and,
and I think that's kind of why at the beginning you want to be yourself. You want to put your best foot forward, but that best foot should not be too different from who you are because ultimately you're setting an expectation and then you kind of need to meet the expectation. You can only fake it for so long.
Yeah. And I think it ties into the next factor that people said was personal ambition and just that desire for growth. Right. So we already talked about this. Guys don't really want in 2019 or what year are we in now? Guys are not really looking for women who just come chill and sit at home doing nothing,
Yeah, but even for the lady too, they don't just want a guy that is just comfortable with where he is and is not trying to progress in life. Like they want that guy that is continually advancing.
Yeah, and actually a few people that I talked to broke up their relationships for this reason. They're like, the guy doesn't really have ambition. Wow. Or the girl is like, the guy doesn't have, there's no there's nothing he's looking for, so there's nothing he's pushing himself towards. And you have to work on yourself first to get yourself to that place where someone else will look at you and say, wow, he's up to this and he's up to that, and he trains kids in school, or he does soccer for kids, or, there just has to be that thing about you that makes someone else interested in you. All right, so let's talk about other random things that people mentioned.
I mean, clearly, number one that a lot of people said was dishonesty.
Another thing that some people mentioned was like if they've dated someone that they know, or
that can be
just
kind
the
of
whole
weird
complicated
sometimes.
matrix. I was like, okay, I get it.
Yeah, a couple of people, both guys and ladies, said they don't want someone that has kids, or I guess
I
that
think
has
that
kids.
is unfair.
I mean, yeah, it is unfair, right? But sometimes it can just complicate a new friendship. I don't know.
I get it, but hey, everyone to each their own. I think
I think there's some people that don't mind it, and I think some
Yeah.
people it's a deal breaker for
True.
them. That was a sense that I got.
True. Other people mentioned not being financially responsible. So if you don't know how to spend money well, sorry, that's a deal breaker for me. Like, that's a no for me.
Now, this one, both guys and ladies said it, and I really, really want to know from you guys. They were like, I cannot date somebody that is not black. Then another guy was like, no, specifically, that is not African.
And some people even would drill down to like, if she's not Nigeria, like, forget it.
I'm like, wait, are you going to cut out an entire group of people
Pretty
just
much,
because of how
because
they
why
look or
not?
who they
No.
are?
But I think one guy, and actually quite a number of guys actually put it right and was like, if someone makes you happy and just because of their skin color, like if someone is going to truly make you happy for the rest of your life and just because of their skin color, you X them out, that's kind of too bad,
Yeah, I mean, it's your loss, honestly, because you got to think about it this way, right? Assuming you're living in America and you're African, they're already a minority. First of all, you're a minority being black. Then the quantity of Africans in America is even smaller. Then when you divide that by half, now you have only some guys. Like
he's going conference on us again.
Okay, whatever.
No,
But you get my point.
I hear
The
what you're
population is
saying.
not that much, and if you're cutting out a group of people,
You only have a small pool to choose from. I hear what you're saying, but at the end of the day, we're humans too, and I think people just have their preferences. It's just kind of like some people would never wear an orange shirt, and some people would never wear pink shirts. Like everyone, we're humans, and people have their preferences at the end of the day. But I would say don't have too many preferences. It's not, like you have to pick the things that are important. But I don't want to be preaching, so I'll just stop there.
I mean, I think I'll put it this way, right? You should have your must-haves, and the must-haves should be things that matter a lot over the long term.
Yeah.
While the things, all the other things you have on your list, in 2 years, 4 years, they may no longer be relevant.
Yeah, but we can talk more about that in a future episode where, we talk about the advice that men give to women and the advice that women give to men.
Yeah. So the way I see it, Abisola, is both guys and ladies seem to want the same thing, right? So where is the disconnect that sometimes lead to broken relationships, or that sometimes lead to ladies saying that there's no guy available, or guys saying there's no lady, like he can't find the right way? Where's that disconnect?
Honestly, that's a really good question, because as I sit right now, I can think of, gosh, how many women off the top of my head that are convinced there are no good men out there. Like, how do I find them? And some men are saying the same thing. Apparently from our interviews, they're wondering whether good women are too. But I think both parties need to put their best foot forward in all situations. Like, you just never know where you're going to meet the guy, right? So just be ready at all points, right? So being like just ready to have that good conversation, even if you're in a random place, you just never know who's going to be looking at you. Okay.
Let me translate that for you in real speak. Wherever you go, always look on point. Number one. Number two, wherever you go, have great conversations. Smile flash that beautiful smile. Mm-hmm. Talk about like something very interesting, right? Wherever you go, just be yourself, but be a cool person.
Yeah, and the key is wherever you go, right? It doesn't have to be, I'm going to a meet and greet, or I'm going to a party. Like, it's literally in the grocery store. Like,
for example, when you're at work and you're talking to your boss. I'm just kidding.
Guys, don't follow Shay's advice. No.
Anyway, okay, but of course, the other one we said was like be flexible on your criteria, right? Have your must-haves and have your optionals, right? Like, don't make your optional be a must-have, because if you have a very long list, good luck finding the person that fits that list.
Yeah, and guys gave examples of the heights, ladies. The heights, ladies,
As
just
in-
drop. You guys attack the men on the heights. Like, just they have no control over their heights, okay? And you know this, so
I know a couple
don't
of
dig them for the heights.
I know a couple of ladies that said that like they kind of were not interested, or that they broke off a relationship eventually because of the height.
Because of the heights, guys. You ladies need to drop the height thing. Like you kept saying, most of them said over and over. I mean, like the height is kind of a big deal.
Well, no,
both short women and the tall women were like the height is
technically,
important.
I think part of this was like from Hollywood movies where, you know, the guy stoops down to kiss the lady.
I don't know what it is with the height, honestly.
Anyway, the point is, it's not something that the guy can control. And if it's really not that important, man, like, drop that. What if...
I just think if a man would truly make you happy again for the rest of your life, just because he's short, you know, don't just X him out for that reason.
And of course, the last thing is just be the kind of person you want to be with. I mean, I feel like we've said that. Just be a fun and interesting person.
Pretty much, that's it. So I would go back and say, I think the question that women are asking when they're saying we're the good men, or the question that men are asking when they're saying we're the good women, is really, you know, we're the good, fine, rich, tall, you know, career driven,
chocolatey,
African or chocolatey
with a 6-pack,
everything all in one. Like, guys, let's be realistic. You know, all the men don't just come out of their mother's womb, you know, with that perfect movie like look, if you know what I mean. So I think we have to be realistic in the question that we're asking when we're looking for, you know, Mr. Right or Miss Right.
Yeah, so that's about it for this episode, but stay tuned for the next episode where we talk about where to meet the right guy or lady, how to make a great first impression, and even advice that both guys and ladies had in this area.
Yeah. And in the meantime, we want to hear from you. So join in the conversation on Twitter. Tweet us at Life and Jara. And you can also head over to our website to join on our WhatsApp group. It's lifeandjara.com. So either tweet us at lifeandjara or head on our website, lifeandjara.com, to join in the conversation. And oh my goodness, I have to say a huge thank you to every single person who participated in the interviews or the surveys that we did. You guys rock. That's all I have to say.
Because we asked a lot of questions and you guys really helped. So
yes.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.